As I mentioned in my presentation, now I'm going to show you a demo unit testing in Android application, how you are going to do it in Android Studio. So this is a demo application for converting temperature from Fahrenheit to Celsius and Celsius to Fahrenheit. So I basically it's a very simple application. So what it does is I have this convert Fahrenheit to Celsius method that I implemented in another Java class. What it does is it basically takes an input value, a temperature as Fahrenheit, and then basically it calculates and returns the Celsius value of it. And then there is another method, it's convert Celsius to Fahrenheit, that basically takes input of Celsius temperature as Celsius and then calculate and return the Fahrenheit value. So I have another class converter util. So this is basically this Java class where I basically implemented these two methods. And I assume that almost all of us know the Kelvin scale and the formula how you can convert Fahrenheit to Celsius and Celsius to Fahrenheit. So this is, let's say that my application's name is temperature converter, and I am not only basically want to have the limited features just converting. I might want to also add some other stuff, which is maybe some other, like maybe weather forecast or whatever it is. But before going for other implementation, I want to actually see if these calculations work perfectly or not, which means I want to check this single component, and this is known as basically unit testing. Whenever you want to test a single component in your application or a code segment, a block of code to check that if it is executing properly or not, we basically call it unit testing. So when you are basically creating any Android project, you will see this Android your package name and this Android test, and then your package name and test, these two folder. So Android test, these two folders by default will have example instrument test, that's a Java file, and then example unit test, another Java file. So your instrumental test, as I'm most probably gonna talk about it in the next slide when I'm done with this video. So let's not talk about it now. But when you are basically gonna implement it, you can have the already created class here, so you can just write your code here. We are now gonna talk about example unit test, this class. So let's go here. So here I wrote a block of code. It does very simple, it does very simple thing. It basically checks if your method is working perfectly or not. So for example, I have this converter Celsius to Fahrenheit, right? And the input value is 100 here, which is like I want to convert my 100 I want to convert the 100 degrees Celsius to its corresponding Fahrenheit temperature. So that's basically basically a benchmark. So we all know that the expected value of this would be basically 212. Its corresponding Fahrenheit value. So we declare a variable and then we said that it's okay. This is the expected value. And then we basically use this assert equals, which basically checks for the expected and actual value. So the actual value we are getting by calling this function, passing that value 100. And then we basically check that if expected and actually is okay or not. And this delta is basically very close, to which extent close we consider that okay, we can consider this as our equal it's actually working like it's actually calculating perfectly. So this is the same for this block of code as well. I have this another converting Fahrenheit to Celsius, so I have this 212 as input, and I know that the expected value is 100, but I want to check, so that's basically the thing. So first let's see if it works or not. So I am running this file. It takes time. It's Android Studio. Okay, wow. What did I do? What did I do? Oh, I had a basically syntax error in the main activity on .java class. I was most probably removed one parenthesis. So it's okay now, thankfully. Okay, so let's go to this example unit test. Yeah, now run and hope everything will run okay. Okay, I'm scared. Okay, so it works perfectly, thank God. So, okay, so this is basically which means that my whatever I defined here, whatever the calculation is, it's working perfectly according because it matches, it calculates the actual value, which is I assume equal to 212. Now let's say that change this expected value to maybe like 210. So I know that my actual value will be 212, right? So, but I defined here that the expected value is 210. So then run it again. See, here basically I am getting this error that it's basically conversion from Celsius to Fahrenheit. This is the method. So it's talking about 8 and it's basically we have an error, assertion equal error because the expected is 210 as we defined, but the actual is 212. We know that the answer should be 212, but the way we will define in this test or Java class, it will work like that. So yes, that's how basically you can do unit testing. And the more complex your program or application will be, the more complex will be your unit testing. So this is one example. Wow, another important example, popular examples is basically login. Sort of like the same, that username and password it checks, and if it is okay, then it like it's like maybe like pop-up window will say that okay it's fine or not. So you can always have this like checking parameter as in this checking block of code in this test.java 2 and then check. So yeah, that's all related to basically unit testing from my end. Now we will continue the presentation.